Welcome to Global Business. I'm your host, Dr. Neva, and today I'm excited because I have a lovely host next to me. Her name is Adrienne Garland. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
You're most welcome. Can you please let the audience know who you are?
Sure. So my name is Adrienne Garland, and I have a company called She Leads Media. And what I do is I provide marketing consulting services, and I also put on an annual conference for women entrepreneurs and leaders in New York City.
Excellent.
Yes.
And from my knowledge, that conference has done some amazing stuff, transforming the lives of these women. But I want to key in a little bit on the name of your business, She Leads. Why She Leads?
Well, that is very interesting. I chose the name She Leads because I think that it's very important for women to step up as leaders in their lives, not only in the United States, but also around the world. We really need to see what women leaders look like because there's not enough of them out in the world. And so I thought, let me put on a conference and bring women together who really want to step into that role of leadership.
What does a leader look like, especially a female leader? What's a...
Yeah.
And before you answer that question, I remember being in a Saudi and I wrote a book called Female's Guide to Understanding Leadership simply because I realized the students that I was teaching, they did not really associate leadership with being a woman. And I remember asking the students, give me some names of some leaders. And they gave me a lot of names and no women, they were not included.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I need to do something about that. And I think that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to have a positive image of what leadership is about.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. It's amazing that you wrote that book. And I feel like more books like that need to be written, and everybody, not just women, need to see the diverse array of what a leader actually looks like. We've been told, we've been taught through school that there are men that are leaders, they lead in battle, they lead in war. That's not what our world needs to evolve into. We don't need to be a warring world. We need to be a peaceful world. And I think with that transition, we need to see more women leaders so that when you do go into these other countries and you ask the students, who is a leader, that they raise their hand and they're saying one woman after another. That is, I think, a goal that we should all strive for. I hope that with my conference and everything that I'm doing, that I can help women to also feel empowered, that they can call themselves a leader. Because I think sometimes women don't have the confidence to own their own leadership. And I want to be able to be that person that helps them to step into that role and feel super confident about saying, I'm a leader. And you can be a leader whether you're a leader in your community, you can lead your family.
So how can you be a leader in your community?
There are so many different things that you can do. I mean, women, I find, are super creative and also really know how to bring people together. And I think sometimes when people think about leadership, they think of that single leader, leading the charge. And women's style of leadership is different. They lead from within, within the ranks. So I feel that women are natural leaders, natural in gathering people together, and we just need to change it's almost like the definition of what a leader is, so that, a woman can say, I've organized this group, I've led this initiative, I lead this community group, I lead in my church. we need to have the language and the words so that we can be out there in a much more powerful way.
And you said a word earlier, confidence.
So important.
Why do you believe that some of our young ladies or women of all ages don't have confidence? You know, and that's a hard question.
Oh, yeah.
What is, or even better, how can we give them the confidence needed? How can we work on that?
You know, oh gosh, that is a big question, and I do think it's a very individual type of a thing. You know, I was not always the most confident person, but I think I was put into situations where I needed to be confident, or else I would be, you know, eaten by the sharks. So I guess you could say I built my confidence muscle, and I get a lot of feedback from people that they think that I'm super confident, and it's interesting for me to hear that because I don't have that feeling about myself deep inside, but I think I know how to at least project confidence, and you know, people see that. So women, girls, can maybe fake it till you make it a little bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with faking it till you make it, but at the same time, you have to, I would say, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because you have to believe for someone else to believe.
Yes.
It's like creating a new business or a product.
Yes.
Yeah? If you got to say, this is mine, I know what I'm doing, I have that confidence, I believe it will work.
Yeah.
And you keep saying it to yourself, and, you know, sooner or later people will go, yeah, yes,
yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
Yep.
And that confidence will then turn into something greater. So, yeah, it's believing in yourself, one. Can you think of any other things to make these young ladies, you know?
Yeah, you know, one thing that I also do is I observe. So, you know, I might be in a situation and I observe maybe the power dynamic, or who is the one in charge. And I think that it's a little bit of understanding what game you're playing too, depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve as an outcome. So, you know, in a situation where maybe you want to promote a woman, if you're in a company and you're in a position where you can recommend a woman to be promoted, understanding what characteristics the company would like to see in a leader so that you can coach that person to that level. So I think, you know, something that everybody can do is they can help each other. They can mentor each other from a place of, I want to help you, as opposed to, I want to step on you and, you know, step on your back so that I can be higher.
I am so happy you mentioned that, because I'm in the process of planning my next year conference in New York. You know, yes, I have one coming up for Kenya, but the title or the theme for the one in New York will be leveraging and collaboration.
And it's so important. Oh, wow.
You know, we want to be successful, but we at the same time tend to want to step on each other versus collaborating, versus leveraging to bring each other up.
Yep.
You know, and some people mistake that as, you know, well, I'm a leader, I'm being aggressive, I take charge. But would you agree that a leader, in order for you to be a leader, you need to have followers, right?
Yes.
And in order for you to have followers, people have to believe in you, and you have to be likable.
Totally. Yes. I completely agree with that. Yeah.
And if you're stepping on each other, you're not going to be likable.
No, people are not going to like you if you're stepping on them, and they know that you're the kind of person. And it's, it's really too bad, because I do feel like some of the male model of leadership is that you do, do everything that you can to win, even if it's, stepping on somebody. So from a male point of view, that is how you get to a leadership position. And maybe that worked in the past, but it's not going to work in the future. And with conferences like yours, and the message that you're putting out there, collaborating, helping each other, leveraging each other's strengths so that everybody can rise, you're doing amazing things. So, and I admire you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And of course, you're doing some amazing work as well, which I want to talk about a little. Marketing and helping women to market their business.
Oh, yes.
What are some of the things that you do, and what are some of the challenges that you have?
Yeah, so I guess first, even as a business owner, a marketing consultant, it's challenging to find new work all of the time. I have to apply some of the things that I do for others to myself in order to raise my level and my thought leadership and my expertise. And actually, this is a wonderful way for me to do that. So thank you for this opportunity. And I do think that, more women could benefit from doing things like this. And this is scary. We're putting ourselves out here. We're in front of a camera. We're many people can see this. But that's another thing, just to kind of circle back to that other question, put yourself out there and do things that maybe make you a little nervous or scared, because it's really not that scary. I mean, we're talking, we're having a beautiful conversation, and hopefully we can reach one woman that says, wow, look at what they're doing. Maybe I can do that too. And I think that is also key for marketing. So it's, what I like to do for women is to help them to understand what their unique selling proposition is for whatever product or service it is that they're offering, and to really embrace that. You don't need to be like everybody else in order to be successful. Yes. In fact, that's a recipe for disaster, because you're always chasing what the other person is doing and trying to catch up. And I don't think that that's what the public wants. They want something unique and different, a new perspective, a new way of looking at things. So I really counsel women to embrace that uniqueness and then do what they can to amplify that. I think that everybody is very confused with all of the social media tactics and tools and everything that there is out there. But one of the things that I recommend is just going back to marketing 101. What are you offering? Why is that unique? Tell me how that's going to benefit me as the consumer of your product or service. And then let's find the right target, the right person for that message, and talk to them. Get their feedback. And I really think that it's like, let's go back to the basics. There's a bunch of tools out there. You can pull all those different levers, but you don't need to do everything. It's like, let's chill out a little bit.
Marketing 101.
Yeah, marketing 101.
So do you think it's difficult for some women to actually put into play the marketing 101 tools that you mentioned?
I think it's very difficult, especially if you're an entrepreneur and this product or service or even your expertise. We find that when we create something, it's like our baby. And we're afraid to, poke at that baby, massage it, and do things to it. We're very protective, and we don't want to put it out there for feedback from people. So I think that one of the things that we could really benefit from as women entrepreneurs is to, create a product that's viable and put it out there and separate it from yourself. I know that I've even struggled with that with my business. My business is very personal. It's very much about me. And so when I, get a negative comment or somebody, says something to me, it literally hurts my feelings. And that's awful.
We're a human being,
Yeah.
and we're going to get feedback, positive or negative, and the world is not perfect.
No.
But again, you have to be strong, if you have to take a, step back and just breathe in and out or sleep on it.
Yes.
Could be for a week, not sleep for a week, but just take back some time and say,
fun.
you know what?
Yep.
And we're not perfect, so that doesn't mean you're going to wrap up whatever you have and throw it in the garbage because that one person
Right.
said, or it could be a few individuals say, no, it's not good. Look at what it is and see, okay, maybe it's them, or if it's me, how can I make it better?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think that's great advice for marketing. I think that's great advice for even, personal branding and, seeing how you're resonating with your particular audience. If the message isn't working, change the message. If the people aren't liking what you're doing, that's not the right people. You can look over here and that's with products and everything and try to push them, but maybe your audience is over here, so you're looking in the wrong place. And that's why I think it's so important to constantly get feedback from the people that are using your services, or that have enough interest to give you feedback. Listen to those people. It's critical.
I'm glad you say to know the people that will use your product, services, and stuff like that. For you, why women?
Well,
because, and I must say, while you think about that for a second, at times I find that could be the hardest market. People say, well, women have the highest spending power. They, they're in charge of the home, whatever it might be. But at the same time, I've found challenges where they don't want to spend, or they don't see the benefit to something that will, bring them up to another level.
Yeah, everything I feel like we're talking about is so related. It almost goes back to confidence in yourself. So if you don't have that confidence in yourself, your product, your service, your offering, then you're not going to take the leap and invest in something that could take you to the next level, because you're not even confident that the minimum that you have is worth investing in. So I do think that a great thing that girls, teenagers, young women, older women can do is to really build that confidence muscle and know that they have value that they should be investing in to make it even greater. It's definitely a reason why there's so many examples of women who start businesses but don't reach that $1 million revenue mark. Women start businesses at a higher rate than men do, yet they do not achieve the same level of result, company size, that men do. They're less, they're invested in less. It just goes on. And I think that having that in the consciousness, I'm not going to get to $1 million, or, if a guy launches it, he's going to get farther than me. He's going to get invested in, why should I invest in myself? Because I'm not going to get there. We need to totally change the way that we think about ourselves.
And that goes back to building confidence, believing in yourself, and being that leader. Right? Not, just in the boardroom, but in your community and politics.
Absolutely.
As well.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes we just throw away certain things. I'm guilty of it. I don't want to be a leader here. Just leave that away from me. That's not my thing. Or not owning up to leadership in certain fields, when you should. So are leaders born? That's the famous question.
Are leaders born? Yeah, I think like everything that when you're born, you have a certain propensity toward things. So yeah, there are people that I do think are natural leaders, but it's definitely a muscle that can be built. And I do believe that everybody has that leadership ability. It's just recognizing it and feeding it and investing in it. And, just like you work out at the gym, it's building that muscle, putting yourself out there, doing those things that are a little scary, but, once you've done them, you feel good. And,
Yes.
and then that builds your confidence, and it just builds on itself. So
I know that you've dealt with an international audience, different people from different background. The other day I went to one of your events and someone came in from, was it Netherlands?
the Netherlands, yes,
Right.
yeah.
Do you find that different countries, as far as the women from different countries, have a different way, a confidence level, leadership ability? Do you find that?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting with the women from the Netherlands. A group of them attended my conference last October, and I maintained a relationship with several of them, and I invited one of them back for the conference or the event that I put on. And the woman that led the group that came was talking to me about the Dutch women entrepreneurs and saying that they are a confident bunch, but what they don't do is they don't follow up. So they'll establish relationships and discuss things, but won't do the job of following up. And so because of that, they don't see success. And it's a cultural thing where they think that it's rude to push somebody for that next follow-up action. And I thought that that was very interesting. And the woman that I brought back, she was not like a typical Dutch woman entrepreneur. She followed up with me like you wouldn't believe. And so she did something different, and she was able to come back to New York and put on this event. Nobody else did that. So it's interesting. You need to understand the context that you're operating in and do something a little bit different, because she set herself apart from everybody else.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I want to tell our audience is that you are going to be with me in Kenya.
I can't wait.
We have to build some confidence there.
Yes.
Yes. Now, from my experience, and some may disagree or agree, well, in Kenya they have like different tribes, and different tribes relate or come across a little differently. Some confident level is just very high, some is very meek and shy, and that's just within a country.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that in other parts of Middle East.
Yep.
And as mentioned, as far as the continent of Africa, you'll see that. And how a woman will just automatically back up. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has to be aggressive and assertive, but if you are doing business, there's a certain thing that you have to do to stand out.
Yes.
Collaborating, of course, making sure everything works together, but I just want to say again, I'm excited that you'll be there.
I can't
and
wait.
yes, just imparting your knowledge. And we're going to do this November 11th this year.
Wow.
So,
It's a very lucky day, 11/11, 17, beautiful.
I didn't even think about that.
Beautiful. What a beautiful date.
Well, I'm going to be, in October, I'm going to be in India. And then from India, I'm going to go to Sri Lanka. And in Sri Lanka, I'm going to be back at your conference.
Wow.
And then from your conference, I'm going to be in Kenya for my conference.
Wow.
So, pretty much out of the 4 conferences, 3 are all surrounded with women, leadership, entrepreneurship, and just for them to,
I think we can learn from each other too. I mean,
Yes.
What you're doing is incredible. You know, to be able to travel around to these different countries and see how different women operate within this, you know, entrepreneurship type of umbrella. There's room for all different types of entrepreneurship, and I do think that women need to have that confidence to say, well, I have an idea and I have a business and I'm going to make this great. So confidence, I think, is critical. And then it's, okay, how do I do business within that context? And I agree with you. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes you might need to back off. You need to know what you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
coming on this program.
This was amazing.
And, yes, thank you. And I want you to tell the audience, how can they find you?
Okay, great. So my website is sheleadsmedia.com. I have all information about my marketing consulting and my conference there. And if anybody would like to send me an email, my email address is Adrienne, spelled ADRIENNE, at sheleadsmedia.com. And I do my very best to answer everybody personally.
Excellent. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And this was another episode of Global Business, just imparting the knowledge that you can become a better person. Thank you.
Yay.